guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Alright, so today I'll be showing you the time-lapse of this. This is called Goldfish Girl. It is a surrealistic kind of piece, a different step up to my usual photorealistic pieces. I decided to give it an extra touch, just to play around with certain ideas. So I was inspired by this photo by Girl, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce, on Pixels, and I added in this little fishy as well. So let's see how I did this. Alright, so I would start off with the outlines of the facial structure. So this time I actually tried to mimic how one would actually draw from scratch, because I wanted to study and learn how to draw anatomy better and perspective better without doing too much heavy referencing. So this actually helps me understand better, and hopefully I can learn and improve my skills. So when I have already done all the outline, I will always add in the background color. I would choose a certain color which I think would make a good base to start from. So in here it was kind of like a moss green, brownish kind of tone. So when I already have the background color, I would start coloring in the subject itself. I usually start from certain points like the eyes. Most of the time I would start from the eyes. So from there I start working towards this outer layers, to the skin, to the cheeks, to the nose, to the mouth, and so on and so forth. And then on the edges of the jawline, as you can see here. To be honest, I cannot really remember what exact brushes I used, because I used multiple for this one. So there I will add in the goldfishes. I drew two and then I duplicated each and every one of them, so they're like total 4 fishes inside. So the original one, I draw 2 of them, and another 2 I added in by duplicating it. So I would start adjusting the positions of them, the size of them, and I would reorder them to make it fit nicely into the whole digital painting in the end. So I really love this. Is probably one of my favorite digital paintings so far, maybe because it's not exactly an exact copy of what I see. I've always wanted to do something surrealistic, something different, something with a concept, and other than just replicating the photo itself. It's fun. It's a fun idea to play with, and I have a lot of ideas in my head, so it's really fun to see it come to life on canvas on my iPad. And these are also available for print if you would like to purchase over at InPrint and ArtStation. So anyway, let's not talk about that. I just want to talk about this whole time lapse. So then there were the freckles. It took me a while to get the right freckles. There were actually brushes that are freckle brushes. I tried using that. I tried drawing in them manually. So it was some manually, some I used freckle brushes to get the freckleness of the freckles, because I think freckles are really something beautiful, and I didn't want to leave it out in this digital painting. And then I also struggled a bit with the hair, but and this hair I used so many brushes to get the effect that I wanted. Some were very heavy paint brushes, some were actually hair brushes, and some were my regular pencil brushes. So it was a lot of experimenting with this one. And for the fish itself also, I had to do a lot of experimenting with the brushes. So I cannot really tell you which brushes I use, because I honestly don't remember. It was just a lot of trial and error. So if you remember the original reference photo of the fish in the beginning, the tail had actually hard edges. It was not soft as it will be in the final digital painting, because I wanted to give it that dreamy effect and also a sense of motion. So that's why I kind of like softened the edges of the fishtail, and I think it really helped a lot to create the dreamy effect that I wanted to achieve. You will see me in this time lapse, I would be adding like those water waves, as well, the ripple effect, but in the end I removed it totally, because I just want it to be as minimal as possible, because the colors itself already pops out. The girl's hair already pops out the orange color, so I don't want to add too many details to so it would take away from the main focus of the digital painting, which is the girl and the goldfishes. So I'll let you watch this, and I'll just add in commentary where I feel that is necessary. So yeah, enjoy watching. All right, so in a bit you can see how I made the edges of the fins to be fishtails to be soft. So I used a lot of I think it was soft like a smudge soft airbrush effect to it, so to make the edges a bit softer instead of hard and rigid, because I think if I left it hard and rigid like the original fishtail would be, it would kind of distract from these hold. Like, look at the girl, she looks very soft and timid, so if I were to add that, it would kind of break away from the whole balance of the concept I'm trying to achieve, if you get what I mean. I'm probably just saying nonsense, but yeah. So I thought that the soft edges, and actually a lot of people commented on how they liked how I rendered the fishtail. So yeah, I'm very happy about it. And also I been playing around with the accessories. As you can see, there was like pearls earlier on. There were like more pearls, about six of them, but then it didn't look quite right, so I just did some more, and I thought of adding like these coral kind of decorations to it. Didn't look quite right. Also, it was like too much detail, and it takes away from the hair itself. The braids already are really beautiful, so I thought that I shouldn't add more, and which I kind of removed later. So this is how I usually work. Sometimes I add in elements and I think it doesn't look nice, so I just get rid of it. So here is where I mentioned earlier where I added the water ripples, so to look as though as she is underwater. But then, because this is a surrealistic piece, I decided to just get rid of the water ripples. So it could be either, is the girl underwater, or are the fishes above water? So it can be both. It can be either, and yeah, because it's a surrealism, and it's something, a nice concept and idea to play around with. So in the end, I decided to get rid of the water ripples. Also, it didn't look quite good. It didn't. It just didn't work. So in the end, I decided to remove the water ripples, and instead of making that bluish background, I totally darkened it and just made it all very dark. I think it was, I don't think it's entirely black, but it's kind of like very, very, very dark blue. So you'll see the changes that I make towards the yeah, well, you would see the changes I would make, these decisions I make. This is what I love about digital painting. You can actually just you can play around with your ideas. Like, if it were to be traditional painting, you have to have everything set from the beginning to the end how you want it to be, and to make adjustments would be very challenging. So with digital, you have this freedom to play around with ideas, different variations. So yeah, that's what I did here. So okay, I'll stop talking right for now, and we'll continue back in a bit. Okay, so here I will start repositioning the fish. So first I wanted to do like an idea where it's like half of the eye and the half of the face, but it didn't look quite nice. So I moved it around and duplicated two of the fishes, and you can see the extra two, which is four fishes, and played around with the depth of field. I used Gaussian blur, or was it motion or perspective? Oh gosh, I can't remember, but yeah, either one of those. So to give it an effect of, it is like the fish is like in front and the other fish is at the back, so there's like a depth to it. So like I used to do photography, so this depth of field, the shallow depth of field, is a really nice touch, especially when you do portraits. So you can focus on the subject. So of course the subject was a girl and some of the fishes, so I played around with that idea. So instead of it being like totally flat, it creates a certain depth when you look at it. Okay, so yeah, and also because I wanted to make it look like it could be underwater, with the fishes around, I played around with the hair, like it was kind of flowy in the water. Also, this was a challenge to do to make it look good enough, and it gives the idea of the girl is actually floating in a sense. So I liked how it turned out in the end, and yeah, again, I'm really satisfied with how I did this digital painting. So okay, we'll continue in a little bit. Okay, so I redid the freckles. I wasn't satisfied with the first bit, so I did a lot of them manually in here, because when I used the freckle brush, it kind of looked too pasted on, so I had to do it manually. So yeah, and then here I will be adding in some shadows and highlights to pop it up, and gosh, I'm losing my trail of thought here. So yeah, I will add in the shadows and highlights, and the shoulder bit. If you notice, if you compare it with the original photo, the position is slightly different. Also, I think she was wearing a white kind of top. I decided to make it my own, and I added some like a lacy kind of dress, which you'll see in a bit. So here I just added in a bit more details on the ears because it was hidden by the hair that I brushed over. So as you can see, I tend to move around when doing my works. Sometimes I do the fish, sometimes I do the hair, sometimes I do the eyes and nose. So it's never like really organized. It's just like what feels right. I work to how I feel sometimes. So there's no like step 1, step 2, step 3. Of course there is like the basic outline and the filling in the colors and the eyes, and then when I start digitally painting it, there's no organized structure that I work on. It's just how I feel, and I keep on zooming in and out, in and out, just to see. I would look at the whole image to see what I should be adding, what should I be removing, and what should I be adjusting. So yeah, that's how I do my works. So I'm so sorry, I'm just really tired. It's been a while. I wanted to post this video earlier, but I wasn't really in the mood to edit videos. So yeah, okay, so I'll stop talking in a bit and we'll catch up to you towards the end of this video. Alright, so here I am adding in the details of the top. So I drew a bit of the lace and I copy and pasted it and added some shadows on the back of it to give it an effect like she is actually wearing the top of the lacy dress. And if you can see on the right side of the shoulder, it's blurred out, again to give that depth of field effect. So I think a depth of field, shallow depth of field, these bokeh effect is a really nice touch to your digital paintings, especially if you do portraits. Okay, and yeah, I'll be adding in. So here I am just adding slightly more details to the fishes. I'll be adding some highlights just to give it that extra oomph. And okay, if you noticed the fish at the back right there, it's a bit bright. So I thought it was about done. I posted this already online, and someone actually commented on how the fish at the back should be slightly darker to give it more depth, because the person said it kind of lacks of depth, so it should be slightly darker at the back. So you will see me slightly adjusting the fish at the back. It's not that noticeable, but if you put it side by side, you can actually see the difference, and actually that little bit of change actually made a huge difference. So let me see where it is in this video. So see, I'm still adding the highlights. Okay, some adjustments to show up the scale, because it was kind of soft on the fish, so I had to give it some more scales. And okay, more dits on the fish. Okay, there, you saw just now. Okay, I kind of like darkened it a bit, right? So there you go. This piece is almost done. I have my signature there, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be posting more time lapse of my latest artworks, and thank you so much for watching. So bye.